Hello, viewers. This is Adam,
And Aaron.
and this is Siki Media Production. And this will be our Logan review.
Okay, so this is one hell of a swan song for Hugh Jackman to lead the X-Men franchise. I mean, this was actually I didn't really think it was possible considering where this particular side movies series is taking place. Where you got from the first Men, X-Men. What was it? X-Men.
It's just X-Men.
Oh, just X-Men. No. I'm talking about the side movies.
Oh,
The Wolverine Origins. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was a start, and then you get the Wolverine, which was a decent step up. It wasn't the best movie in the world.
Well, at least it was a slight improvement from the Origins movie that they tried to change the timeline around.
There was really cool things in that movie that stuck with me.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's that movie from the same director, James Mangold.
Exactly.
Who decided he felt as though that was a decent attempt at that character, Wolverine, but this is the one which is pretty much his official stamp that people will remember him by.
And this is one hell of a way to, touch that core group.
So, what is Logan about? Well, this takes place in a far distant alternate future. I'm not really sure what timeline this is technically in, but
I'm pretty sure it's his own timeline. But even if it isn't, I can say it is. The movie takes place in a way that it does feel as though it's his own standoff movie, but at the same time, it can also fit within the earlier movies in the franchise.
It's loosely inspired by the actual graphic novel of Old Man Logan, which this does feature a much older, wary Logan in the series.
This is Wolverine grandpa style.
Complete with glasses.
Yes. And I'm sorry, those suits he wore this. I wish I could rock a suit like that, but
and he's doing his own thing. But unfortunately, his own thing, he's looking on the downside.
Yeah, I mean, this movie brought in its storylines a lot of different themes that you could really get from it.
Very powerfully, some timely things too.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to talk about any important political matters, but it does touch on those sensitive issues as well.
Let's just bring it back down to what it was. This is definitely a story about being a man and having to deal with the problems that growing older comes with being a man. Those problems that every guy is going to end up one way or another feeling and experiencing.
And when becoming a man is actually owning up to responsibilities.
Yeah.
And one responsibility comes knocking at his door in the form of X-23.
This is one interesting character. This is also one of the characters from the comic books I was actually really looking forward to seeing, and I was not disappointed with the portrayal that was being brought in this movie.
Yeah, and from that on, we got this whole world movie that sets course from point A to point B in this very specific destination that's important to the character of X-23.
Mm-hmm.
But along this journey, they are being hunted down by these cyborg criminals known as the Reavers.
Yeah. It's basically like the bounty hunters for another government organization that was coming after kids with mutant abilities in this film.
I feel as though it probably gives up a great send-off to the character.
It really does. It does touches you. It has moments in this particular franchise, within this film alone, the story that really grips you, and it really makes you wonder about your choices of what you're doing and what type of send-off or just something what you're going to leave behind.
Thankfully enough, what this movie does get right are its characters.
As I said before, Hugh Jackman, for whatever it's worth, was one hell of an outstanding Wolverine. He brought out, certain aspects to this character that were just spot on. And it makes it very difficult in the near future for anyone else they choose to take on the role of Wolverine and do a better job, if not just as great as a job as he did leaving it.
And that's saying something because Hugh Jackman, he's been playing this character for 17 years.
That's astounding.
But he does make up for one hell of a dang portrayal for this particular take on the character of Wolverine. We also get possibly the last role for Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
I felt so numb after having to see this brilliant man who's taken and sheltered and fathered so many young individuals having to succumb to something so traumatic, having to be Alzheimer's essentially, brought down so low. But he doesn't leave it low.
That is true. He even though that they are down a luck, he is among the two
that has so much hope.
That's it. At least tries to have that hope. Bring up some form of optimism. This optimism springs up more further when X-23 comes along. She's a little box of surprises.
She really is!
Yes, and she was did really good work for the action scenes that she was able to do.
Of course.
Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can definitely tell at some parts that, that's just nothing. No individual, no grown woman or child should be able to perform. But God, she does, she pulls it off. She makes you believe it. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing.
And the story is pretty much grounded by these three actors.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say that the movie has at its faults with practically half the cast.
Yeah.
Because at this point,
you do feel a sense within this film, some type of, longing for having to experience the other characters that this franchise brought to life.
And I get that you want to have this movie focus as just a Logan movie. I'll say this Logan, not Wolverine, a Logan movie.
Exactly.
But you do feel as though this is set in the X-Men universe. You want to see some more mutants at least.
Mm-hmm.
But what we got from just those great actors, we have these two-dimensional characters in the background. They mainly serve as villains. And
yet again, like I said, I feel as though the group that was supposed to be after these kids, they were supposed to be a bigger deal than what they necessarily were in the film. And they do bring some form of, terror and obstacles for the characters. But at the end of the day, they're generic. You don't leave the film thinking, wow, those guys were outstanding. I don't remember not one of the real villains that were brought into this film.
I know. And it's really a shame because if this is going to be a Logan movie, at least they should have had some slight supporting role for his main rival, which is Sabretooth.
I was looking forward to that. You getting a grizzled Wolverine. Why not get a grizzled Sabretooth to go up against him? No, but what this movie decides to do, they decide to get...
into spoilers.
Exactly. Can't go so far into that, but you can know where it's going to lead up to. And just to say, it wasn't... It's finale as far as, going into it with a big bad. Left me wanting a little bit more from it. But what I got as far as a complete story, it was pretty darn good.
Let's pretty much get into the production here, and I'll say from what the production does bring to is a Wolverine movie done right as far as an R rating.
Yes. This was not an R rating for a film that was just done just to add in a bit of more gore or blood splattering. No, it was actually, even though this movie has a lot of blood in it, it's done with respect.
Yes. It serves up that form of violence that we always knew that the Wolverine character can bring.
And I hope continue to bring within newer films within the franchise so long as they decide to go forward with it.
Yes. And it just pretty much gives them, the creative team, more room for creativity. The cinematography, it makes it look like a very modern Western film. But other than just doing appropriate violence and cinematography, once again, we're coming around a movie where the music is felt wanting.
Exactly. I think the music that actually sold this movie the best happened to come within the commercials or the trailers that this movie had, going for it, i.e., John Cash's Hurt, and it was like really what a beautiful meld between music and movie when it came to trying to showcase what this movie was supposed to be about.
But that's only the preview.
Exactly. I wish we had more of that type of music, especially within a finale such as the Logan in the movie itself. But you don't get that.
But despite those shortcomings, I'll say the overall story is great, actually.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It was one great movie.
I actually cried near the end.
I didn't cry, but I sure as hell enjoyed myself.
Like it touched upon those themes very, very powerfully. The character of Logan, a proper send off to that particular take again, and Professor X, he may or may not be Patrick Stewart's last portrayal. We don't know. And a really good R-rated movie, which is Logan.
Very true. So as always, please like, share, and subscribe if you like this particular episode. And we hope to bring more to you guys.
My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This has been
a Seeking Media Productions.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.